For most, summer is a time to relax and have fun under the sun. But in a neighborhood of San Jose, this engaged couple had their day take a dark turn. To outsiders, Steve Turner's life seemed perfect. He was a 26-year-old man, being the prime time of his life, having a high-paying job, being a market manager for Sprint, and has lots of friends and a coming marriage with the love of his life. A few hours before the proposal, Steve Turner has driven home to prepare a surprise for his girlfriend, 25-year-old Fat Ho, who he has been dating for 5 months already.
Steve called me around like 2:30 p.m. He's telling me he was ready. He was excited to present Fat Ho with her engagement ring. That was surprisingly $6,000. I think the two only been dating for like 5 months, and I hear the garage door opening, and he tells me I have to go, get ready for the surprise. Then he just tells me goodbye.
Little did Rob know that was the last time that Rob and Steve will ever have a conversation together ever again. At 3:45 p.m., Steve's friend Rob just came back from a hot day at work and stopped by Steve's house to visit. To his surprise, he has found that Steve's door was left wide open. Before Rob went to work, Steve asked Rob for a favor to help him with the surprise because Steve didn't think he would be able to finish it by himself. His fiancée, Fat Ho, wasn't going to be home until 5 p.m. Going inside, Rob found a horrific scene and immediately called 911.
911, what's your emergency?
Hi, I'm at 2972. The front door was left wide open and I walked in. I saw my friend and his fiancée on the ground near the bathroom and there was blood everywhere and his fiancée isn't waking up.
So 2 bodies. One bleeding and one unconscious?
Yes.
Was there anyone else?
No, I don't see anyone else in the house.
When police arrived as described, they found 2 bodies on the floor, identified as Fat Ho and Steve Turner. Drawers and closets were ransacked. A knife and a written note was found on the table. 26-year-old Steve Turner was pronounced dead by multiple stabs in different arteries by a knife at the crime scene, with his fiancée at the hospital unconscious. Investigators soon began their investigations by questioning close friends and family members. What they learned was that Steve and Mo Lester were on an ongoing squabble. They also found out that Mo was Fat Ho's ex. They were barely on speaking terms. In the autopsy, medical examiners determined the cause of death.
There were multiple stab wounds in the abdomen with a sharp blade, probably a knife, which was clearly a homicide with stabbings up to 5. Determining the multiple stab wounds on the upper left quadrant of the abdomen, hitting the spleen, intestine, and ultimately the heart, killing him.
A day later, after the incident, Fat Ho has just woke up and the investigators ask her for her perspective.
Please have a seat, Detective Decker. Go ahead.
Where were you before the crime?
I just got out of work at 5:23 p.m.
Could you please describe what you remembered?
I came home and found the door wide open. I went in and found a black hooded figure who was near Steve Turner laying body.
Go.
Not noticing me, he wrote a note and laid a bloody knife down. And just moving away to see the full view of blood on and around Steve Turner, I gasped in horror and immediately the perpetrator turned around. Seeing me, the killer attacked. I fought back but was knocked down and hit my head on the wall. I couldn't remember what else happened. I also couldn't think of any person who would do such thing except for one person, Steve's brother, who I heard Steve arguing with yesterday.
Police also questioned Mo Lester, who said he was at home at the time of the crime. Police also found a black hoodie in Mo Lester's car.
We found this black hood in your car. Can you please explain why was it in your car?
It was March 17, 3 p.m. I was preparing a gift for my brother alone. I really wanted to give it to him. Now, hearing this news, I was saddened and regretful that I couldn't give it to him.
Police investigated on the crime scene and showed that the perpetrator was in a hurry trying to kill Steve, but missed a fatal wound and stabbed him to death instead. Search also shows evidence of an infamous killer, being the note that the killer left, a poetic message ending with a Z with a slash right through the middle and a determined death. Investigators thought at the time that it was the infamous killer at the works, the Zane killer, an infamous killer back in 2003 who was known for targeting couples and leaving behind his signature with a slash through the Z. The Zane killer was primarily involved in 12 homicidal cases, and by the end of 2004, seemingly vanished. He was never caught nor identified with the exception of his 12 blue Bic pens, a handwritten note, and a smudge fingerprints that detectives could not identify. Also a black fiber and a hair-like fiber and other various evidence that the killer left behind.
Based on the evidence so far, we believe the killer is Zane Killer, who is known for terrorizing couples. In 2003, couples everywhere in San Jose would worry who would get targeted next, and many made 911 calls when they suspected they were next. Zane would randomly target couples, especially engaged ones, and would murder one out of those two couples, leaving a note with his signature Z. Now 4 years later, all of a sudden, I found out myself that the Zane killer was back.
Back in the lab, forensic scientists conduct tests on the collected evidence.
And with the paper itself, Zane's previous cases and Zane's supposed present case. For texture, this one is more smooth, and this one is way rougher. For patterns, there were none I could see so far. As you can see, I could see a bit clearer to this one, but a bit blurrier to this one. As the edge fibers, this one is short and thin, while this one is long and thin. For ink absorbency, for Zane previous case paper, gel is first, ball is second, and felt is third. For this paper, ball is first, felt is second, and gel is third. For water absorbency, this one absorbs less, while this absorbs much more.
Second, the ink itself. Investigators has found a pen which was hidden under a picture frame. Using ink chromatography, forensic scientists found that the pen was indeed used for the note.
A few moments later.
In Fat's room, we found a pen that was similar to Zane Killer's pen. We used ink analysis using chronography paper and found out the total distance of each two moved was 7.5 centimeters. The distance of each pigment that moved in order was orange, pink, blue, and yellow. Orange moved 1.5 centimeters, pink 3.2 centimeters, blue 3.5 centimeters, yellow 1 centimeter. The RF of each pigment for orange was 0.2 centimeter, pink was 0.43, blue 0.47, yellow 0.13.
The third evidence was the handwriting itself. Although it looked like the Zane killers, there were subtitle differences. Between the two handwritings, I noticed and highlighted the B and A on the word back and the word baloney, bearing striking similarities. Then I marked other similarities, from the name Steve, the letter U and K in kitchen, and finally ER in counter, confirming that Fat Ho's handwriting matches the one of the Zane killer's note.
Fourth was a black fiber found at Fat Ho's body. The investigators believe when Fat Ho fought back, the fiber accidentally got off.
Investigators also found out about Fat Ho's questioning recent history, having spent large sums of cash over the months from January to March, amounting up to $120,000 and in debt. Even worse, she was having an affair with other men.
Why we got into an argument in the first place. The relationship wasn't what it seemed like. She was putting on a facade. And when I found out she was cheating on him, I told my brother, but he wouldn't listen, and we got into an argument. Ever since then, he wouldn't talk to me.
A signature is something written personally and uniquely by you with your own speed and style. In my own analysis, I looked through 5 years of Steve Turner's signature handwriting. Not surprisingly, over time, his signature becoming more stylish and artistic. And 1.5 years before his death, and added an extra element to his signature, located at the bottom right of the signature. Looking through his signature, he added a circle. I know it's an important part of his signature, being more prevalent in his formalized signature on documents and letters. Okay. For the life insurance signature, there was no symbol on the bottom right. Also, the letters U, R were supposed to connect but stopped midway. I concluded the signature was a forgery.
Police soon confronted her and told her that they knew she was the killer. She denies, but with hard evidence facing her, she was arrested for the murder of Steve Turner. Fueled by greed, Fat Ho, with her extensive knowledge of the Zane killer, created an elaborate plan to murder her fiance and secure the life insurance for herself. But with a few flaws in her procedure led to excessive evidence from the fingerprint on the table, the matching pen ink between the note and her pen. Fat Ho was sentenced to death row for first-degree murder and for false testimony.
Finally.
Fat Ho was sent to prison for life for second-degree manslaughter, perjury, and mariticide.